Here we go. Here we go. DJs, got that gig finally. Promoters not reaching back. Clubs not reaching back. You're not getting rebooked. Let's talk about a few reasons what it could be. Um, this is important, right? Early in your career, um, I'm gonna say that if your goal is to go global, the local DJ gigs aren't gonna take you there, right? But what they're gonna do is they're gonna help you refine your skills. The more you play, the better you're gonna get. Like you might be a good DJ now, practicing in your room from like a technical standpoint, beat matching, mixing records, knowing what to play when. But once you start playing for crowds, sometimes crowds change and the ability learning how to navigate those things, the ability to evolve on the fly if crowds aren't reacting to certain things, um, tightening your skills, becoming a better performer alongside being a great DJ is all gonna help you go big one day, right? But on the shortest level, playing a bunch of gigs at any local venue isn't going to get the eyeballs on you to get a big agent and stuff like that, right? And also what it's gonna do, it's gonna teach you how to market and how to promote because those clubs are gonna expect you to help with that stuff. And we'll dive into a little bit of that in a bit. But learning how to promote things, learning how to market, learning how to garner attention and fans towards something that you're doing is only gonna help elevate you when you have music, when you have bigger things to discuss with your fans or to push on your fans, when you have learning how to do these things is just going to make you better and more prepared for when things get bigger because the marketing side of things, the promoting side of things, it just never goes away. As you get bigger, all those responsibilities get bigger. Though you'll have a team in place, you'll also always be pretty hands on with all that decision making, right? So let's dive into it. Next, I mean, the first thing, the most obvious thing we could discuss on why you're not getting booked is a performance thing, right? Maybe the mixing wasn't as good as you thought. Maybe you were train wrecking. Maybe you couldn't hold a crowd. Maybe your overall vibe just didn't match. Sometimes we book people, and even though we discuss, and even though these artists come to our parties, um, sometimes they come and play something completely left field. Like these are all reasons on why you might not have gotten rebooked, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to our customers, right? It's to provide a great night for them. And it's not just, and we want to do that. So they want to stay as long as possible at the venue. So maybe they consume more liquor, which helps us pay the bills. And not just on a short term thing, but on a long term, we want those customers to return. The more consistent and fun our parties are, the more our customers become regulars. And the more they become regulars, the more we're able to try new things and create better, and provide a better musical experience, right? So on the shortest, it could be a performance thing. Maybe your music and brand doesn't fit. Like sometimes your sound, maybe you as a person, your vibe doesn't match with me as a promoter or the person that's booking you. And I will sometimes outside of just the music and the way you play, we want people that we feel come from, that are the same vibe and style as us. Because like who you are as a musician, as a DJ, as a person is going to attract a certain fan base, right? And as a promoter, as a club owner, we want to attract a certain type of crowd sometimes. Some venues, we don't care. We want anyone and everyone to come in. But for some things, there's a certain vision for the venue, and we want to attract that. And maybe you don't match that. It's all good. It happens. Find the people where you best fit and you find home and try to play there, right? Also, I want to add to that. Sometimes, like my Sundays at 1-800 Lucky, we have a very specific sound and style. It's very house, it's very tech house, it's very Latin tech house, it's very vocal friendly. It's a Sunday vibe. Throughout the day, the vibe should be deep, and then throughout the night, it should pick up and become a little bit more dancey. It shouldn't be super mainstream, but it shouldn't be insanely on the most far spectrum of underground. It's a bit of a happy medium, right? And the amount of people that tell us they could play that and they come in and do something completely left field, Like, to me, that's almost more unforgivable as a promoter than if you had, like, an off day and your mixing was a little sloppy, right? Because to me, a mixing thing is just a skill thing. Practice more. I'll give you some opening slots where you won't be playing at that many people, and maybe you'll get better, but your sound is right where we want. You're a cool person. We want to support that. We'll work with you and help you get better there. But if we have a discussion about the style of the party musically ahead of the event, and I always like to convey that to all the DJs, and then you come in and play something left field, you're a bit more of a risk because you're gonna if I book you again, there's always a risk that you're gonna just play whatever you want, right? And I don't wanna tell you, you have to change for my party, but if you don't play our style, you should try to find promoters that you align better with, right? It's all good, nothing personal there, right? So those, to me, artists that will just go and do whatever they want or tell you that they're your style when in reality they're not. They're just telling you whatever you want to hear so they can get that gig. To me, those are massive red flags. And I'm very unlikely to give somebody a second chance when that happens, right? Where I'm more forgiving on an opener who might just have an off day on a mixing or a train wreck. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes the CDJ acts up. It happens, right? So those are some of the more common reasons. Next could be your behavior, your professionalism, right? Maybe you're just being a jerk. Maybe you're hard to deal with. Maybe everything leading up to the show is difficult. Maybe the actual show, everything's difficult. Maybe you were nasty to the staff. Some people are like this and they don't even realize they're like this, which is tough because when um, when you're not when you're not able to take self accountability for when things go wrong, you really can't fix it, right? That happens a lot, surprisingly. Communication's a big problem. And I'm saying all this to you, you should expect the same thing out of whoever's booking you. They should be highly communicative as well. They should convey things. They should answer your questions within a timely manner. Um, that goes both ways, right? And then to add to that, and this happens a lot, artists for some reasons show up late to the venue. It causes stress, especially when you're the opener, like the first opener, because if you show up late, we might have some people waiting to get in and we can't even open because music's not ready yet. If you're the second or third DJ, being late no matter what isn't cool. But when they're late, I can just let the opener play a little bit longer. That's a little bit more manageable. This adds to a lot of stress. Sometimes I'm not present at every single one of my events. So we count on you to be responsible enough to get you to the venue. If you struggle with time, leave earlier. Traffic happens, these things happen. Be ready for it. You shouldn't be showing up 5 minutes before a gig anyways. You should be showing up early enough to check out the vibe. If you're the second, third, fourth DJ on the lineup, you should be coming early enough to check out the vibe, see what the other person's playing, so you know where to take things. If you're the opener, you should get there with enough time to account for traffic, right? And that's very hard. And then to add to that, don't forget your headphones. Double check your USBs. The amount of times USBs don't read, it happens. I would have 2 or 3 backups of the exact same USB. And I mean, it's not really your fault. Technology backfires on all of us. Be prepared. And then the next big thing is just the overall following up and relationship building. Like I can talk for myself as a talent buyer. I have a lot of projects going on. I promote, I manage artists. I have a few different venues we work for. I also do this content stuff. We got a lot going on. If I don't hear from you for a while, if I don't see you at the events for a while, there's this old saying called out of sight, out of mind. It happens. Um, it happens. Um, Come around, right? And again, go into the places you want to play. Like earlier, I said, like maybe your sound didn't match the vibe of the venue or the promoter's vision. You know, Being present at events allow you to see this. It allows you to see what people are playing, what works in your market, what doesn't work in your market. So I've said this in many videos. Like there's nothing more important than being present in your scene. It helps that research part. It helps you develop. outside of the relationship building part, which is key. And I've talked about this a lot of times. It helps you understand your market. And if you plan to have any success on a local level, you need to know what works and doesn't work in your market, because what works in Miami doesn't always work in New York and vice versa, right? So, yeah, stay in touch, follow up messages. People are busy, you'll get it. I mean, as you get busier, you're going to see it becomes hard to maintain and have conversations with every single person. Also, don't blow us up just asking for gigs. Like, come out, support. If you're not playing, be part of the scene. I'm more likely to help people that are just more present, right? I'm more likely to give opportunities to people that are just present, right? I know that they're gonna know the ravers that are there supporting us because they're out more often. I know that they're gonna understand the vibe of the party because they're out there more often. I'm just more inclined to support them, not because they support me, but because they support the scene. And then, just to wrap it up, sometimes the gigs just don't go as well as you thought. You know, very often people are delusional, and it's very rare that us as promoters, as bookers, are gonna tell you the reason why you're not getting rebooked. And it might sound cruel, but every time I convey to an artist why I'm not rebooking them, I then have to spend the next hour or 2 hours of my day debating them. Instead of them going like, you know what, I get it, thanks for the feedback, I'm gonna work on that thing, they tend to take it poorly. And it ends up being an hour or two debate on why whatever that thing is that they did, right? And I don't want that. I'm busy, like I don't mind giving feedback. Take the feedback, like it or don't like it, that's on you, but it doesn't need to be a debate. It's my reasoning as the person who's booking, as the person who's curating the party. That's my prerogative. Everybody has the ability to go out and start their own event if they don't think that the promoters are right, right? There's nothing stopping you from that. Tons of local DJs have their own events. That gives you the ability to do as you please. It's my event. It's this promoter's event. It's this owner's venue. They get to do what they want. Um, and then to add, and don't forget to promote and market. Like I've said this time and time again, the market's diluted with a ton of talent. It's oversaturated. There's an unlimited amount of DJs that play phenomenal, just as good as you probably, and we're just more inclined to help the ones that are really pushing the events, right? I know a lot of DJs say it's not my job to promote, but to combat that, if the DJs aren't going to help support the event and they're not going to have a following, then from a talent buyer's perspective, it's easier for me to just have a resident, the same resident every week, who's more likely to know and understand my venue and crowd, and I'll just fill the place up and I'll have a consistent music. I won't have to go and listen to tons of mixes every single week to pick who's going to be next, than to give opportunities. So, the opportunities become available because some artists are able to bring more to the table than just playing good and being a curator, right? So, don't be afraid to go above and beyond. It's going to help you stand out. Remember that, as venues, as promoters, we're trying to keep the bills on. We're trying to make sure we keep great staff. And in order to keep great staff, the place needs to be busy, because those workers, those bartenders and busboys and barbacks and waitresses that are tip reliant, if they're not making that money, they'll go elsewhere. We want to make sure rent's paid. We want to make sure you're all able to get paid. So working together to make sure the night's successful, keeps something going for the longevity. And you'll see the ones that are getting rebooked, and it's because they play great. It's because they're easy to deal with. It's because they communicate. It's because they bring a small following to the table. Like, those things are going to keep your gigs going forever. And then just remember, we have hundreds of DJs hitting us up. If we write back slow, if we don't always respond, sometimes it's not any of these things that I mentioned. Sometimes it just gets lost in the shuffle. Sorry, it happens. Like, we really do try to consider everybody. Again, just being out more and hanging out and having conversations keeps your name and face in the mix. As always, I hope you found this content useful. And if you would like to have some one-on-one time with me, I put a link in the description below of this and every video. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us. It really helps us grow, and we appreciate you all. See you on the next video.